I was walking up the stairs one day. I remember with a load of laundry, and this phrase dropped in my head. This is not for your destruction. Now, I'm a writer, and I know that you don't just drop things like that when there isn't anything coming. It's like foreshadowing, right? And I also know that I don't talk that way. I would have said, don't freak out, you're going to be fine, right? But this is not for your destruction. I mean, it was.
Hi, it's Tiffany Lorraine Galloway with another episode of the Resilient Mother Podcast. This month, we are going to be speaking about resilient identity, which is so important in motherhood and the stories that we tell ourselves. So today, my special guest is Michelle, who's doing a project just around that. So she's going to be here today to give us some insights on to tell your own story and how to decide what your identity is, or maybe what you would like it to be. Thank you for joining me, Michelle. Please tell us more about you.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's really fun. Yes, my name is Michelle Tuft, and I teach English at a community college in northern Minnesota. And so my story is really aligned with what you're talking about, and I'll just give it to you kind of briefly. But in 2018, in the spring, I was pretty burned out. I was pretty burned out as a mom. I was pretty burned out. We were campus pastors at the time, so I was pretty burned out of that. I was in graduate school. I had a daughter getting married. I had another daughter who was just deciding she wasn't going to talk to us anymore. So we were trying to navigate that. And we were at a conference, and honestly, I kind of dragged myself there. I didn't really want to go. And a friend of ours came up to us, my husband, Phil, and I, and he said, I had a dream and you guys were in it. And we were like, oh, okay, what was it? And he said, well, it was kind of weird. We were in this kind of a World War II airplane, like a bomber, And he said there was something really big and scary coming at us. And you and Phil ran to a turret, each of you, and you took it down with 3 shots. Boom, boom, boom. No problem. Done. He said it came down easy. That was it. So my husband and I were like, well, okay, we'll write that down and keep it on the back burner. So yeah, it's what you do at those kind of things, right?
Right.
So fast forward 6 months. I was seeing a naturopath doctor at the time, trying to get through menopause as painless as possible, and she found a couple lumps in places they shouldn't be. So she sent me off for a mammogram. I got that done. That came back with some concerning places. So they went in and did a biopsy, and while I was waiting for the results, I kind of didn't get too worked up about it. But I was walking up the stairs one day. I remember with a load of laundry, and this phrase dropped in my head. This is not for your destruction. Now, I'm a writer, and I know that you don't just drop things like that when there isn't anything coming. It's like foreshadowing, right? And I also know that I don't talk that way. I would have said, don't freak out, you're going to be fine, right? But this is not for your destruction. I mean, it was God. So I kind of nervously thought, oh, what isn't, and then I remembered the lumps. Okay, so maybe this is going to be an ordeal. So went on. A few mornings later, I wake up and I have this song running round and around and around in my head. And it was not anyone I ever listened to ever. And I was on my deck drinking coffee, and Phil came out, and I said, I can't get this song out of my head. And he said, well, what is it? And I said, it's from the 70s. It's that guy, Stevie Wonder. And I said, the song is, and I sang a line, don't you worry about a thing. Don't you worry about a thing, mama. So he literally says that, mama. So Phil and I were both like, what? Whoa, So I hung on to the song, woke up that night about 2 a.m. and I had a different song in my head. And I thought, no, I want my Don't Worry song. And I'm rewinding, right? Turns out, I hear this little voice say, listen, just listen. So I listen to the song and I have to fast forward it to the chorus, right? The song was The Best Is Yet to Come, made famous by Frank Sinatra, right? So then I was like, okay, Lord, what are you doing? Something's happening here and I don't know what it is yet. So I was thrilled, hung on to those two songs. The next night, I almost expected to get another because for some reason, God seems to do things in threes. I don't know why. So yeah, big nod. So the next night, it was only the chorus that I knew, and it was, I love you, I really do. It was the Carpenters. I knew that, but I didn't know like what song it was. So I had Don't You Worry, The Best Is Yet to Come, and I Love You. And we were on a walk one day and my husband said, do you remember the dream from Terry and the 3 shots? Oh my goodness. And then he corresponded it to faith, hope, and love. He's like, your 3 shots are faith, hope, and love. Don't worry takes faith, right? Mm-hmm. Hope is the best is yet to come. We got hope coming. And I love you, you're loved. So, okay. So I have that ammunition, right? I get the results of First, when they do a mammogram, when they do a biopsy, they put a little tiny metal, some sort of metal clip in there to mark the spot. So next time they'll see it and they'll say, oh, we already checked that spot. Well, that clip traveled. It was sticking out of my skin. It traveled. And so I went in and I'm like, what is this? What's happening? And while they were clipping it off and doing whatever, he looked at my file and he said, do you know what's happening? And I said, no, I just know I'm waiting on results. I don't know what's happening. I got an email saying it was just calcifications and it's probably fine, but I don't know. And he said, well, actually, what I see here is that you actually have DCIS, which is cancer in the milk duct. So it is stage 0. And actually, today they're saying more like we don't even treat it, we just watch it, because you can't get out of the milk duct ever, so it can't really do any damage. But then, and this was almost 8 years ago, they did everything. They wanted to have surgery to remove the cells. They wanted to radiation and all the things, the medications and all that. So I went to my homeopathic or my naturopathic doc, and we decided that surgery was a good move. We just get the bad cells out. So we did that, but because that little marker traveled, they needed to take a little more tissue just to make sure they got the right spot. And so that came back from the biopsy then, and they found a real cancer tumor in that tissue that the mammogram did not pick up. So anyway, so that set me into a bit of a tumult, Then they wanted me to be back in there right away, make sure they cleared the borders. They wanted to check the lymph nodes. So we did all that. So here I am, right? And it's almost Thanksgiving. My daughter's getting married December 23rd. I'm finishing my year of graduate school and teaching. Everything's chaotic. We go to our friends up on the North Shore to just get away from everything. And we went to their prayer meeting with them and they prayed for me. And I remember thinking, I don't understand why God would heal me. He just talked to me. He just gave me those three songs, right? But I was just like, I don't know why he'd heal me, So anyway, they prayed. I didn't really have a lot of faith for it, sadly. But we got home and my friend Kathy gave me this book that connected disease with emotional roots. And I took a look at 2 things. I looked at breast cancer and I looked at at thyroid, because my thyroid was kind of a mess. And the 2 things that came up were mother-daughter discord. And I had that going on with our oldest daughter, and severe self-hatred. Now, I'd been a campus pastor for 20 years. I've been trained in, inner healing stuff, several different, ministries. I taught kids not to hate themselves. I would just tell them, don't you dare walk by a mirror and roll your eyes. You tell yourself, you know what I mean? It was my thing, So I slammed the book shut and thought, that's not me. Whatever, went to bed, got up at 5, all alone. House was quiet. Went and sat down with the Lord. And I said, do I have any self-hatred? And the knowing came. It's not like words. It's not whatever. It's just this gentle inner knowing. And he said, you don't hate yourself now, but you severely hate the young you that you were when you were raising your kids. And the minute he said it, I knew it was true. And oh my goodness. So what happened next was a 2-hour session with him of healing. I mean, he led me to start at the very first home we lived in with our girls. And every memory that haunted me, every time I wasn't fully there for my kids, or I yelled, or I ignored them, or whatever. He led me through those memories, and he led me to forgive me. So I'd be in this little memory with him, right? And I'd see my young self doing, yelling or whatever it was. Yelling was my big thing, I guess. And I mean, it crushed my soul to think about it now, that I would yell at a little small child, So I would, in the little kind of prayer session with Jesus, I just looked at my young self and told her, I forgive you for this. I completely forgive you for this. This is not who you are. I love you. I bless you. And then the Lord's like, okay, now say to your kids what you wish you would have. So that was amazing, because I would get down in front of them and say, forgive me for this. Mommy loves you. I mean, oh man, tears. I had a pile of Kleenex about that big by the time I was done. And he just led me through. After 2 hours of this, I was kind of getting dried up, right? And our friend Joel and my husband both got up at the same time, came and sat with me. And I told them what had just happened. And Joel said, it seems to me the fact that you are a completely different person now than you were then is proof that God is good and he transforms us into his image. Oh, wow. So that was kind of like the cap on it all, right? So that was beautiful. And do you remember having a baby? Do you remember having a baby? And you have this baby, you've spent 9 months growing and growing, right? And then the next morning, they get you out of bed and put you in the tub. Do you remember the feeling that when you get up and you walk for the first time after having that baby, you've suddenly lost 30 pounds? And that feeling of, oh, wow, I'm so weightless, That's what it felt like after that 2-hour forgiveness session of myself. I felt like 50 years had been lifted off of me. And I was I was 55 at the time, I think 53 or something. And it felt like literally a weight had been lifted off of me. And I felt that for a while, like probably a month, just that feeling of, oh, wow, And so that was amazing. And then we got more bad news. We got bad news that the lymph nodes had cancer. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of scary, because I really felt like, well, the cancer must be gone then, right? The cancer's gone. Well, according to that, it wasn't. And it's like the cancer train arrived at my door, like chemo, radiation, medicine, all the things. And I've been kind of a weirdo about, I don't even take Tylenol. Like I'm a natural girl all the way. I'm like, what's out in my yard? Can I make a tea? I mean, you know what I mean? And so the thought of putting a port in my body and doing things that are going to rip down my immune system, I could not reconcile. So I spent every morning on my face with the Lord, I don't want to do this, but I don't want to be afraid of anything either. Like, I don't want to not do it because I'm afraid, but everything in me says no, and I finally did come to a peace that I could do this without all the treatments. I could do this. And my naturopath agreed. She looked at everything. She looked at what the oncologists, she just looked at everything. And she said, I'm comfortable walking with you through this. So my daughter's wedding. Okay, so then I basically told the hospital, I need you to quit calling me because you're stressing me out. I don't want to see your number on my phone. I need to have a wedding. I need to finish school. I need to do Christmas. Can you just leave me alone till after Christmas? And they said, okay, if you'll get an MRI, we'll do that. So I said, fine, I'll get your MRI, but I'm done. And so they agreed and they were great. My MRI was December 27th and they expected me to light up like the 4th of July, just everywhere. Because MRI shows everything. And they told me that's why they didn't use it initially, because it can overdiagnose, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm at the MRI and I just had a peace. I just said, Lord, I'm going to follow you through this. I don't know what you're going to do, but I just had peace. And it came back completely clean. Nothing. No cancer anywhere. Not in my lymph nodes, not anywhere. No cancer. So, wow. I just felt like, oh, are you kidding me? And I said to the Lord, what does this mean? What do I do? And he said, live free. You need to live free. So, I've spent the last 8 years kind of trying to figure out what that means, right? Yeah. So I did go on kind of a 18-month to 2-year overdosing and nutrition protocol. Like, we cleaned out all the crap in our house. I have no more chemicals. We ate clean, we juiced whole real food. It was really good. So, and then I had a follow-up MRI and that was clean too. And then my new doctor now sees us every 3 months and I have no carcinogenic activity. So yay. Very cool. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the story. Now, since then, our daughter did leave us. We have not talked to her in 5 years. It's kind of a national phenomena going on, a worldwide phenomena right now.
I don't know where she is. Some people say, hey, we saw her. She's doing okay. She doesn't talk to any of us. So,
So I don't know what's happening, but there are so many moms out there that are just living completely crushed because their children, So we after COVID, we lost some friends. It was, just differences in weird things like politics and medical. We had people completely walk away from us. And I think I went into mourning. I think I went into grief for about 5 years. And so I had written this book, walking me through the cancer, walking me through all the things. And I put it away when we started losing people. And I found it last December. Like, I was literally trying to find a file and I found it. And I thought, well, I forgot about this. Took it out and read it. And the Lord was like, now's the time. So cleaned it up, published it. It's out now. And what's really cool is he led me to write a journal that goes with it to help women not only forgive themselves, but write their own stories. So he pulls in my teaching, he pulls in my writing, he pulls it all together, and it's all there now on my website, whatever. So I feel like my message is we have to stop exiling ourselves as women. We were young. we were young, we were scared, we might have been sick. I think I found out now. I mean, I know I found out now, but I think I had Lyme's disease back then. I had my blood sugar was wah, 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 I was a kind of a physical mess. And then being a young mom, being scared, not knowing what to do, and how do I raise these little people? How do I do this? You make some bad choices sometimes,
Yep.
and I know that some people have harder stories and some have easier stories, but in reality, it can be as small as not seeing your child when they needed you, and that little thing can haunt you the rest of your life as a mom. You know what I mean? So when we exile, my husband just shut the door. When we exile ourselves, what we're doing is we're saying, I'm ashamed of you. I don't want to see you. And I'm going to shove you down. You don't get a place at the table of my heart and my growth anymore. And that only makes things worse. And I'm speaking from my own experience. That part of myself starts running the shots then from the darkness, kind of, as the rejected one, as the ashamed one, starts telling me that I'm not worthy. I'm not a worthy mom. I'm a terrible mom, in fact. And so, and then to make it even worse, when I would see my daughters showing a bit of myself, like acting like me or, then, oh my goodness, then it's even more so. And I don't know how to relate to them because they're acting like me and I don't like me. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it was probably close to 20 years or 15, 18, 20 years that I lived with that kind of shame. There was a point where I couldn't even look at my old journals because my handwriting would kind of set me off and make me think bad things about myself. Right. Not, whatever. But so I got pretty shut down, and then you have to kind of pretend. Then you have to, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm a campus pastor. I'm good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you're not. I'm not. I wasn't inside. And it culminated in cancer for me personally. I think it can culminate in lots of different things for different women, but for me, yep.
Mm-hmm. The body's a lie. It'll show up somewhere.
It absolutely does. And so, so once I forgave my young self, the shame was gone. The self-hatred was gone. I can look at her now and just think, what a little peanut. I mean, she just was learning. She was learning. She was growing. And it has changed everything for me, honestly. So
I think self-forgiveness is one of the hardest things.
It is.
And it takes this kind of work. And it's very beautiful that way. I can relate to, I have to look back on periods of time in my life where mental health issues, different things that were going on. I was literally out of my mind. I was not in my right mind.
Yeah.
And I did things that in my right mind I would never do. Never, ever do those things. Mm-hmm. But some of it was lifestyle, pushing myself too hard. Some of it was wrong advice, wrong medication, not enough support. So I can look back at it now and see it differently. But there was a period of time where I was almost at war with myself. Yeah. Like those two versions of myself were at battle, and there was all this energy between, but that was a part of you, but that's the past. But why did I do those things? And I don't even know that I'll ever really completely know the why, but what I do have to say to myself is I did the best that I could with what I knew, with what I had.
Yes.
And especially later years, realizing a lot of the circumstances that led to the huge amount of traumas that have led to chronic PTSD for me were due to lack of support, narcissistic abuse, and being in the wrong place at the wrong time in some ways.
Yep.
But I also see it from God's point of view and realize that some of those circumstances could have been 10 times worse than they were, and that I was being protected despite my own weaknesses, despite making the wrong choices.
Yeah.
And not everyone gets in trouble on purpose or maliciously or to rebel. Some of it's ignorance. Some of it is people taking advantage of you. Some of it is having family that doesn't know how to help you in a good way.
Yeah.
But I love how your story has God in it, because I feel like throughout everything I've experienced in my life, God's always been there.
Yeah.
Never failed me.
No, exactly.
He doesn't move. You're the one that moved. If you're not feeling him, you're the one who moved.
Yeah.
And so some may listen to your story and be uncomfortable with, well, and God told me this and God told me that. But I know periods of my life where I heard him that clearly.
Yeah.
I know there were periods where I was guided, or it came through somebody else, like you mentioned along the way too.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me going, because that's something nobody can take from me.
Right.
And that's a part of my story that I can find a lot of peace in, that I wish more people understood. I mean, there are people who have a higher power that they believe in different things. But I know my God, I know my Jesus, I know that I just know. But I came to that through my own exploration, through my own question, through my own journey. One has to go through that. And as a mom, it's tough too, because you want your kids, once you know that, to know it as well as you do. You want them to have the same arrival and to be able to forgive themselves and be able to move on, especially in this hypercritical world of the haves and the have-nots and the like and the do not likes. And it's fast and it's not deep and it's not connecting people.
Yeah.
We have to connect with ourselves first.
Yeah.
And that all what your story was for me as I was listening very intently, because it's a beautiful story. So how does this journal let women do these things we're talking about? We've kind of lived through it. I know sharing will be inspiring, but how does a woman who's listening to this go, I need that? Or how do I do that? What advice would you give her?
Well, in the journal, it's got, I think, 10 sections. And I just do a short kind of a teaching at the beginning. And then there's a ton of prompts. So my whole life, I've been a writer. I've always been writing things. And I know that you sometimes don't even know what you really think about something till you write it down. So even since this has come out, and I've done a few of these interview podcasts, my daughter has this sweet friend. I don't even know where she lives. They know each other from online. And she said to her just randomly the other day, I finished all this work and I did this, and then I had about an hour, and I got inspired by your mom, and I wrote a letter to a child that she didn't have anymore. And I'm not sure if the child died, or I don't know what's going on there, but she wrote a letter to the child because of my book. And I feel like, thank you, God, because that is so healing. It gets what's in here and in here down on paper so you can see it and you can process it. It's just a gift. And so the journal gives a little bit of teaching on writing. Here's the thing. Grammar doesn't matter. Mechanics don't matter. I mean, later, if you want to clean it up, great. But for now, this is about your heart. It's about your heart. It's about your mind. It's about getting your words out of you and onto paper so you can see them. And so I think I do a pretty good job of teaching. I think I'm an okay teacher. And then there's a bunch of prompts. And prompts are great because if you're not sure what to write, or you're not sure what to write about, one of them will stick out to you. Oh, okay, I could write about that. Yeah. And we start at just some childhood memories that stick out to you. And we eventually get to memories that you're ashamed of. And then we get to forgiving yourself for those memories. And I kind of teach real briefly on what that looks like. And kind of how to live free after that. So the journal came together in literally like 2 weeks. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I felt like the Lord said, I need you to do this. And I was excited immediately. And it just, boom, came out. So it's really fun. And then the book is my story then. So if people want, they can read my story first, get a feel for, oh, that's how she did it. I decided I'm not going to teach and I'm not going to preach, in my story. I just tell it. I just tell it in little vignettes, which are like little short little stories. And I let myself and my reader come to their own conclusions about what's what. And for me, I feel like that is a really clean way to do it, because I'm not I'm not trying to make you think something or try to teach you what to think, because your story is different than mine. And the Lord is maybe showing you a different piece than he showed me. And yeah, so that's what that's about. But here's the thing. I was listening to one of your podcasts the other day, and you asked, what does resilience look like as a mom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, courage. It looks like courage. Because it's scary to look at things that you're ashamed of. It's scary to look at things that you're afraid of. But I just want to say, the Lord is never, ever going to leave you in that. Ever. If he walks in there with you, he's going to walk out of there with you. Right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I love telling moms on here, because some of them struggle with the idea of like, this child's difficult for me, or why this, or why did this happen to me? I could even get on that pity party from like, I'm not in a traditional family. I've been divorced twice. Like, this was not what I thought motherhood was.
Yes.
But when it comes down to it, like, your path is your unique journey, and God's there with you.
Yeah.
And your children were given to you for a reason.
Yes.
So yes, maybe I'm single, but maybe that was part of what my children needed to become who they need to become. Maybe.
Yes. Well, he can use anything, right? I have a friend that says he can win with a pair of twos.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. He doesn't need, and like this estranged thing with all these people leaving their families, the grief was really intense for a while, because you're in a place where I was learning to forgive myself for my shortcomings and for not being fully there with my daughter, and not knowing how to comfort her when she was afraid, because I was afraid and I didn't know what to do. And then she cut me off and didn't let me, once I knew how.
Different kind of grief.
Yeah.
Because I'm a birth mom.
Oh my gosh. So am I.
Yeah. When I did that, like the day I did it is so distinct in my mind, and the heartbreak I felt my heartbreak and I collapsed. I understand now why some people die of a broken heart. Like I just have, it's this most intense moment. I can go back to it and I just start tearing up right away. Yep. Because yes, it may have been the right choice and all these things, but it's a little different than when a child dies. When a child dies, it's still that heartbreak, it's that grief, it's that loss, but it's a different kind of grief. There's a little, I don't want to discredit it. I'm not trying to do that here at all. I would never, no one should have to have their child die before them. No one. It's awful. But when your child is given up for adoption, or your child estrains from you, the thing there is like, here's this child who's alive. I kind of know where they are, but it's not like death where I know they're in a better place. Yeah. Like they're still going to go through mortal experiences. They're still good. I don't know if the parents will do the best job. Did I make the right decision? All these things. And my adoption in my case was not the happily ever after story. And we're still working on it. And then I'm like, so then there's people that want to say, well, maybe you shouldn't have done the adoption because it didn't turn out that way. And maybe you made the wrong, like there's all sorts of things that come with that. Yeah. But the grief part is like, I could be there. Like I can't go to heaven, but I could maybe be there in some way. Does my child need me? Do I need to be there? Are they okay? Are they not okay? And like, and I don't know. And as a mom, when you really love your kids, it like just eats at you that like, do they need me? Thank you for joining us today. Please don't forget to subscribe so we can share this message. We are a worldwide podcast with guests all around the world, and we want to continue to grow this community. You can find us on socials. You could also be a guest. Look for that link below if you'd be interested in being a guest on the podcast. If you know a sponsor or would like to be a sponsor, please reach out to me or Catherine as well.
Sure. We want you all on this journey. We want to hear your stories. We want to share your stories. We want to gain strength from each other because together we're stronger. And to never forget the blessing of being a mother and what we're creating. We're creating the future every single day of our lives. So get on this train with us and let's do this thing, moms.
I believe in you. Believe in yourself. God bless. And we'll see you around. Take care.